overnight tonight, and then slowly starting to see those showers taper off probably at about midnight. We should be pretty much clear. But for those of you who do get rain tonight, it will be on the humid side. And again, kind of just adding to that extra layer of it feeling more like the beginning of August, as we're almost quite literally starting the beginning of October. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit more of that summertime-like feeling as we head through the next couple of days. So let's actually take a look at what's in store. Let's time out the worst of the rain as we head through the rest of the evening. And then we'll take a look at that cold front that's on the way as well. So here's what we're looking at. Here's our Fox model. We're going to continue to see those very scattered showers and thunderstorms on tap through the rest of the evening, mainly centered around Orlando, kind of following parallel to the Florida Turnpike is where we could be seeing the majority of those scattered showers and storms. Continuing to see those storms pick up a little bit more as we take a look, maybe by the up to Deltona area if we kind of follow up the I-4 corridor, all because the sea breeze is going to continue to pick up and then slowly starting to die down by about 11:30 midnight. We should be pretty much clear. And then continuing to see those scattered showers and thunderstorms kind of pick up again tomorrow, Friday, a little bit more widespread. So today, kind of enjoy the little bit of a break that we have because through the rest of the work week, we're going to see those rain chances on the rise. So here's a look at your Thursday, continuing to see those storms pick up quite a bit, mainly along the I-4 corridor. So really, we're going to see that orientation of the storms really all depending on how the sea breezes collide. Today, they're mainly going to be along the Florida Turnpike. Tomorrow they're going to be kind of more along I-4, so areas across Kissimmee up to Daytona Beach. Maybe seeing some more of those storms as we head through the day tomorrow. So also just taking a look again at our rain chances for the next couple of days. It's going to be on the soggy side, so make sure you have the umbrella, make sure you have the raincoat as you're headed off to work or to school, because you definitely will need that, especially by the morning commute. So just a heads up out there. Quick check on the tropics. We're going to bring meteorologist Noah Bergeron in for the next block that we have on tap. But tropics are a little busy right now. We're going to be seeing not one, not two, but three areas of that we're going to be keeping an eye on. And we see right here, we're going to be monitoring, again, just kind of three zones that we have. We have, of course, Gabrielle, but we're also going to be tracking two other areas of interest as we take a look at the next couple of days. So here's what we're looking at right now, and I lost my spot in my show right here, so I'm gonna switch gears really quickly. But we're keeping an eye on a couple of different things. So here's what we're really focusing on. We're focusing not only on Gabrielle, but we're focusing in on two high chances of seeing a tropical development as soon as tonight. So we can see where these areas, one is a little bit further away from the Florida coastline, one kind of almost runs pretty much parallel. So we're going to be focusing in on that through the next couple of days. But again, we're not only just focusing on these two. right, everybody, welcome back. And we're going to really focus in on the tropics in a second. We're kind of doing a little transfer of graphics right now. But to kind of go back to our question of the day is, are you Florida born and raised? And if not, where are you originally from is the question of the day. So actually, while we are here trying something new on this stream today, we are actually going to be taking in your comments live, because I do see a couple of folks writing in on our Facebook page. So let's actually take a look at that. We are live on Facebook. Again, we are live on YouTube, as well as we are also live on Fox Local today. So happy to have you here. And so as we do take a look, and we'll take this full as well. Here we go. What's up, Noah?
How are you?
Hanging in there.
That's good.
It's busy.
It is, yes.
It's busy for sure.
But we don't think we have a lot to be concerned about.
I hope not.
Busy does not mean concern for Florida.
Yeah,
there's an important distinction there.
That's true. I think that we're not totally in the clear when it comes to threats completely.
No.
But I think we're just going to get a little bit kind of like by the nick of our teeth kind of system. Like, it's too little too early to kind of tell right now, but everything is looking forward. Even though this, I think, is going to get close, I don't think we're going to be feeling like direct.
Probably not. I tried to give one. Let's pull up this one visual in case anybody is wondering. So I'll let you add to this too, Laurel, please. But it does look like that something a little uncommon to rare for this part of the world. If you may have seen a post about it online, or even, I guess, mine. The Fujiwara effect is something that is when two weather systems or rotating storms, like a hurricane, they come in close proximity to each other and they could orbit each other, or one consumes the other. It's a lot more common in the Indian Ocean and in the Western Pacific near Asia, and on the poles, actually. You could look up visualizations of it. But in the Atlantic, it doesn't really happen often, because we don't get two storms that are this close often.
Right. And
so that's what makes it, because many people maybe have never heard this or never heard a forecaster in Florida mention this, but there you can see them. So what we're looking at, Laurel, is two storms that could form, or it looks like will form. But the question is, one, which one is the stronger one?
Yes.
And this is the European model from today, and you see number 2 is stronger, the one further east of Florida. Number 1 through the Bahamas. But it does look like that the system 1 there I've labeled probably safely will pass just east of us with little or no impact other than some surf at the beaches. But if maybe you have a Bahamas cruise or vacation next week, that could be more of an impact to the Bahamas. But I definitely would not rule out some kind of a threat to the Carolinas from either.
Yeah.
But despite being 2 there, looks like we're going to be okay. Regardless of what funkiness happens offshore, we should be good.
Yeah, both of these are most likely going to become tropical storms by middle of next week. We're seeing more of the chance of seeing things really starting to pick up as early as tonight with that system 2, and then with the system 1 we're going to be watching pretty closely as well as it continues to make its way northward. We'll actually take a look at kind of the percentages of both right now. And yeah, we could be seeing things pretty much wake up pretty quickly. So right now we are looking at let's start off with Invest 93L. So we're going to be focusing in the one that's a little bit more to the west, so closer to the Leeward Islands. You see that 9090. We're going to focus on that one first. So seeing that possibly become a tropical depression as soon as tonight, development chances, taking a look at the one closer to the Florida coastline, is about an 80% chance in the next 7 days, and looking at about a 30% chance of development in the next 2 days. So we have a little bit more time with that one to kind of watch over a little bit more, but it's going to be this first one. So again, tropical depression as soon as tonight, set to track parallel to the east coast, but this will most likely be Umberto. We can see with the spaghetti models right here, most of them take them away from shore. Some of them a little bit closer to the East Coast than others. So we're going to be watching that again. That's Invest 93L. Something that we try to get pretty quickly is the naming convention. And just, again, lots of numbers get thrown around. And when we have a couple of systems like this, it can get a little bit confusing. But one that we're going to be watching probably a little bit more closely is this Invest 94L. Gusty winds expected, and we could be seeing a tropical depression as it makes its way closer to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I don't think, other than rough surf, like you said, we don't have much to be worried about here. I suppose there's still an unlikely chance that if that system you've got circled now on screen ends up in the western side of that red blob. We're going to take a quick break for those of you on Fox Local here in a hot second, then we'll be back in 2 minutes. But I suppose there is a chance it could come closer to the coast, but I think we're going to be good here.
Yeah, we'll take another quick look at the tropics in a second, but for now, we're going to take... right, everybody, welcome back. And before we kind of wrap up here today, I just want to kind of tie a little bit of bows on the tropics. Again, things are going to be busy, and we're starting to get to the time where we really started seeing things become pretty rapid fire this time last year. And so we're kind of in that part of the season where most likely things are going to be waking up, and not only are we going to be tracking more towards the Caribbean as well as the Gulf, again, we could be seeing things become a little bit more rapid fire through the rest of the season. So just a couple of things to keep track of. Tropics are busy right now, but it doesn't look like Florida is in any immediate threats. But it's also a great reminder to make sure that your emergency kit is ready to go, your home is pretty much prepped and ready to go. So when we do find ourselves in a little bit of a more serious situation, you are ready and you're prepared. I definitely waited a little bit longer last year, and probably especially for when, a year ago was Helene. So it was I definitely got a little bit behind on my hurricane planning. So just make sure, again, there's a lot of information coming out. Make sure you either check in with us here with the Fox 35 Storm Team, National Hurricane Center, so you guys can make sure you are up to date with the most latest tropics information. Again, there's going to be a lot of information kind of coming at you at one time. So the best thing that you can do is try to stay as informed as possible. All right, everybody, so again, trying something a little bit new here, showing your comments live here on our stream that we have. We are going to once again pop up our question of the day is, if you are Florida born and raised, where are you originally from? Or if you're not, where are you originally from? I am originally from Abington, Massachusetts. Noah is originally from Connecticut, but I don't know the town. Where are you originally from? One more time.
Berlin.
Berlin. Berlin. Wait, what? One more time.
Not Berlin, Germany. Berlin.
Is the spelling the same? Or you? Oh my goodness.
Just no in.
I getcha. Okay, but checking out your comments of what we have here, we see that Nicole was actually originally a Californian. Shalita was originally from Queens, New York. Vicky has always been a Florida girl. She was born and raised in Palm Bay. And Scott writing in that he was born in Sacramento and has lived in Edgewater for many, many moons. Happy to have you here. And Athena writing in right now, she's originally from Michigan and now in Florida. Good stuff. Lots of Florida transplants here watching in today. Good stuff. So I know in my lifetime living back up in New England, we were really focused on not only Sandy, but Irma. So even though not necessarily Florida hurricane experience, definitely have had some hurricane experience in the past. So continuing to keep an eye on the tropics out there for sure. But even still, kind of focusing in on the rest of the work week. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be feeling a lot more like summer for us here in Florida as opposed to fall. So it's definitely going to get very humid, very hot, very stormy, especially over the next couple of days, but with more of the feeling of fall. And even though we've officially started fall, Brooks and Jess have something called the equilux, excuse me, that they're going to be talking about in just a second. Take it away, guys.
All right, recently we talked about the autumnal equinox. That's the time in fall where fall officially begins. But have you ever heard of the equilux?
And originally, I didn't think I had when Brooks was talking to me about this a little earlier today, but it's similar, but you could say different in a small way.
Yeah, so the equinox is when the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere have equal amounts of daylight. Essentially, when the sun crosses the equator, we get shorter days in the northern hemisphere. But the equilux is when we have equal amounts of time in Orlando or in any specific spot around the country or around the world. But there's a difference. That doesn't happen on the same day as the equinox.
Right, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're just simply not at the equator. So that's going to be one of the bigger takeaways from this, is the fact that we're not at the equator, and then it also has to do with the angle of the sun. But it is exactly when we have 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. And then we slowly but surely lose about 1 minute per day until we hit the winter solstice.
Yeah, when we had our autumnal equinox indicating the official first day of fall, that was back on the 22nd of September. It happened at 2:19 p.m. Our day length was significantly longer than 12 hours. It was 12 hours and some change. But now as we head toward the 26th, that is Friday the 26th of September, that's when Orlando, our latitude above the equator, will have exactly 12 hours and about 40 seconds of night and 12 hours and a little less of day. But that's about as close as it gets. So that's our equilux. So you got your equinox and your equilux.
Similar but different.
Yeah, similar but different. Not to confuse you, but it's interesting because a lot of people thought, well, it's the vernal equinox, that's the spring equinox. But again, the actual 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night in springtime happens a little bit before the vernal equinox, and the autumnal equinox, or
happens
in this case,
after.
the lux happens after.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. It's all about latitude.
And the sun and the earth.
It's like a big happy family.
Exactly.
Kumbaya. All right, guys. That's the latest from the weather and in the astronomy world. We're kind of out of this world right now. I'll toss it back to you.
Thanks, guys. So yeah, pretty cool out there. We officially passed the autumnal equinox on Monday. The fall officially started Monday at 2:19 p.m. So something pretty interesting about that we're going to be seeing quite literally half and half through the next couple of days. All right, so let's focus on the rest of the evening. Things are slowly going to start to cool down as we see a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms through the rest of the evening. Out the door tomorrow, it will be humid. Heads up for that. Temperatures already starting throughout the mid-70s, quickly warming up into the mid-80s by the end of the morning. But we're not only going to be turning up the heat, but we're turning up the humidity. Highs tomorrow going to be flirting with 90, but pretty much add another 10 degrees. That's what it's going to be feeling like out there tomorrow evening. So as we do take a look, here is our GFS. We are going to be seeing and keeping an eye on the possibility of a cold front making its way down. So we can see right here, that cold front going to be sweeping in, and this could bring us in some quote-unquote cooler air, but not by much. This is also going to be amping up our rain chances, taking a look ahead to Sunday. So as we do take a look at your 7-day forecast, we're going to be continuing to monitor that, as well as the rising temperatures, rising rain chances through the next couple of days. But fingers crossed, by middle of next week, we should be pretty much in the clear. Noah, anything else you want to add?
Call or go online right now. We're waiving all installation costs and offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-384-4402. Call now.
Hey, welcome back to Fox Weather Now. Thanks for being here at the bottom of the hour. I'm Ian Oliver. We mentioned that the Atlantic has become more active. That's true for the entire northern hemisphere, truly. You look at what's going on in the Atlantic. We've got the two areas to watch. Gabrielle became the second hurricane of the season, became a Cat 4, and it's forecast to make a rare direct landfall in the Azores. That's only happened 5 times since back in 1850. You've also got Narda over in the eastern Pacific. It's been busy out that way, the 8th hurricane of the season. And then over on the other side of the Pacific Basin, we've been watching this typhoon, at one point a violent typhoon in Ragasa. Scary scenes like this coming in out of Hong Kong. Bane's going to have a whole lot more on what's happening over on the Pacific side in just a moment. Fox Weather is your hurricane HQ in the Atlantic, just behind Gabrielle. We're tracking 2 new threats, 2 areas of concern. They've been designated Invest 93L and Invest 94L by the National Hurricane Center. Both are likely to develop into tropical systems. That could happen as later on this evening. One could impact the east coast of the United States. For more analysis on what's brewing out in the Atlantic, let's bring back in Dr. Andy Hazelton. He's an associate scientist from the University of Miami's Cooperative Institute for Marine and Atmospheric Studies. Andy, great to have you back with us on Fox Weather. Thank you for being here. Before we get into what's happening with the 2 new things, I hear that you flew into Gabrielle. You just got back. A rapid intensification doesn't really do this one justice. What was it like flying into that beast?
Yeah, it was a really interesting flight. We were doing research missions, taking both planes at the same time. So that was interesting. And we got a chance to sample the rapid intensification as it happened on Monday. We had basically going in and finding it strengthening from a Category 3 to a Category 4 after it had just become a hurricane the day prior. So pretty quick, and we got to see that sort of that symmetric wind field and growing really strong. And We could tell overnight based on satellite, it looked like it was starting to really take off. And sure enough, when we got in there, we confirmed it.
Yeah, amazing visuals, and it was stunning to watch that strength in 65 miles per hour in like 18 hours. It was super rapid intensification. Last time you and I spoke, we had mentioned that the signal overall was for a little bit more activity across the basin. Now we've got two things, and it's getting crowded, and they may have some impact on each other, and the forecast models have been all over the place. What are your thoughts on what we have going on?
Yeah, it's a really complex situation. We have two waves kind of close to each other. The eastern one, 94 or 93L, actually looks like it's more organized, might become a depression as soon as later today. And that one's probably going to become a strong hurricane, maybe even kind of like Gabrielle, but maybe even sooner. That western one would be the one of concern for sort of the Bahamas and maybe even the folks in the east coast of the United States. But that's going to take a while to develop because you see the X there. It's down south of Puerto Rico. It's going to move over Hispaniola. Probably won't see much development with that until it gets into the Bahamas, over the weekend. And from there, it's a question of how quickly is it going to turn to the north? Is it going to get pulled to the east by this other system? We call it a Fujiwara or a direct interaction. There's a big dip in the jet stream, that trough over the eastern U.S. that might try to pull it. So it's sort of you have these three features all interacting with each other together, and that makes things really hard to predict. You add in the land and where exactly the center of 94 is going to form, and it's just a really complex forecast problem right now.
Yeah, I know forecast models always struggle with systems that haven't developed yet, never mind two that'll be in close proximity and having some influence on one another. The hurricane hunters are scheduled now to fly into 94L. How important is this going to be moving forward to give us a real clear look at what's happening inside some of these disturbances right now?
Yeah, we have Air Force out there right now. The NOAA planes, I believe the Air Force are also going out tomorrow. Even though it's not formed yet, they're dropping a bunch of dropsondes to do a sampling of the entire depth of the atmosphere out ahead of this and around this system. And as those get fed into the computer models, the hope is that will help tighten things up and really give us a better idea of where this might go, what it might do. Because studies show that getting more data into these storms in the early stage is critical for better forecasts. And so we're sort of, I think, doing a good job of getting out ahead of this one and getting a lot of data in there early. And hopefully that'll help with what is a very tricky forecast. Yeah,
Andy, how involved have you been with some of the new AI modeling? I did see through the second half of the day today a little bit of a shift more offshore now, but these things are new. They're kind of mysterious. We know they use pattern recognition and machine learning. How comfortable are you with these, especially in such a weird weather pattern moving forward?
Yeah, the AI models that I've seen so far this year have done very well, like Google's DeepMind and AIFS from the European Center, and there are others, GraphCast, and there's a bunch of ones that they all seem to have done pretty well overall. But this is a really tricky setup that doesn't have a lot of historical precedent, having two storms in that part of the basin closely interacting. So I'm really not sure how well we could expect AI to handle something like that. And so, certainly will be something to evaluate, and it's a great tool, but we'll have to kind of look at all of our models to get a good idea of what this one's going to do.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one to go back and look, because as you said, it isn't a very common overall pattern, and it's giving even our traditional models kind of some fits right now. So we're watching, we're waiting for a better consensus. That's Dr. Andy Hazelton from the U. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon. Look at this video. We had showed you what was happening on the other side of the Pacific. That's video into Fox Weather today out of Hong Kong. Typhoon Ragasa has made landfall in China after impacting the Philippines and Taiwan. Bain Froney with us today watching this typhoon and all things Pacific. And Bain, this has been some crazy video, high impact storm over in the western area.
It's been intense. And, we were actually following this past weekend and seeing the storm get bigger and bigger. I mean, it was a
scary looking storm.
Huge. I mean, this was a super typhoon at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's starting to die out as it hits land, but still going to be impacting parts of China and eventually into Vietnam as we start to move throughout the next couple of hours here in the next few days as well. But I do want to touch back on those top wind gusts from Hong Kong. I mean, 104 mile per power wind gust was recorded within the last couple of days. Absolutely terrifying and monster of a storm. Again, as it starts to die out a little bit, it will be heading into Vietnam within the next few days or so. But let's take it over into the Eastern Pacific, where we do have an eye on Hurricane Narda. Still a Category 2 system, strong at this point, but it is heading into a little bit more of those unfavorable conditions as it starts to move throughout the next couple of days here. So it could still get a little bit stronger as we move throughout the next day or so, but like I mentioned, it is heading into unfavorable water as those water temperatures are going to slowly start to die out a little bit. And we know with these systems, warmer water, that's the fuel that they really need. That's kind of like jet engine fuel for them to get going. So once it hits into a cooler area, it kind of starts to die out a little bit more. On top of this system, while it looks healthy right now, is going to start to be heading into some of that wind shear, which is going to kind of mess it up just a little bit and maybe not make it not intensify as quickly as it has been in the past. But looking at our current water temperatures, as of right now, I mean, it still has a lot of warm water to work with as it starts to head towards this forecasted path. But I mean, you can see within the next few days, it's heading into much cooler water by the time we get into the end of the week and heading into our weekend. So let's take a closer look at what we're forecasting to look at. As we move throughout the next few days here, potentially dying out a little bit thanks to that wind shear, kind of pulling it apart just a little bit. But by the time we get into the end of the week and into your weekend, we could see this storm trying to strengthen just a little bit more, kind of on the edge of that Cat 2, Cat 3 area. But by the time we get into Sunday and into Monday, really rapidly kind of dying out as it starts to hit those cooler waters. But I mean, over into the Pacific, we have had a very active season so far, and we've been seeing this over 14 named storms, 8 of them hurricanes, 3 of them major hurricanes, and I mean, some of them getting very close to the islands of Hawaii, impacting parts of Mexico as well. So at this point, Narda is moving through. We're still keeping a very close eye on it, but still not looking to have any impacts, making any landfall at this point, which is great news. Not going to be dealing with any of those tropical storm force winds moving into Mexico or into California either. But next up, we have that O-named system. So we'll see if we'll end up seeing something develop within the Eastern Pacific. I mean, Ian, it has been incredibly busy over in the Eastern Pacific for this year, but now the Atlantic starting to ramp up a little bit as well.
Yeah, that EPAC's been a hurricane factory, busy in the Atlantic, busy back on the lower 48, too. Let's get folks updated with what's going on from the south and into the Appalachians. That's Logan, West Virginia, 72 degrees, comfortable temperatures. The issue, some rain heading that way. Nashville, you've got temperatures in the upper 70s. Same thing. We have seen big numbers just through the first half of this week and going back into the weekend. Places like Shady Grove, Arkansas, up over 9 inches of rain. Just over the past, it's less than a 5-day period, talking about numbers almost up into the double digits. This is one of the spots where we're seeing problems this afternoon. We've had this coverage. It's one active severe thunderstorm warning, Union County, Arkansas side, Union Parish over on the Louisiana side, right in through here. But trailing behind those powerful storms, you've got flash flood warnings because these thunderstorms, very much like we saw yesterday, very much like we've seen over the last several days, producing just an intense amount of water. And this one, that's the one that I mentioned, straddles the state line between Louisiana and Arkansas. You've got very heavy rain falling, perhaps some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, hail sub-severe, maybe pea-size or so. Big problem moving forward through the next several hours, though, is going to be the rain in many of these spots. So our Fox weather model showing you that. Middle Tennessee, that's 7 o'clock local time. You've got some thunderstorms moving on through. You hang on to some of those through the latter portion of the evening and into the first part of the overnight. Broken coverage makes it through the overnight period. And on that boundary, we had talked about some of the rain arriving in the northeast all the way back down to the Gulf. We're going to need to watch this coverage moving through the day tomorrow. Be aware, though, some of the spots we were just talking about, level 2 out of 4 flash flood risk from the Weather Prediction Center. Certainly some flooding possible as these heavy rain-making storms move in. Still ahead, we just mentioned it, big storms headed for the Big Apple tomorrow. It's setting up to be a washout across much of the Northeast. There is some potential for severe weather, an outside chance of a tornado or two. We'll time it all out. We'll talk about those threats when Fox Weather Now comes right back.
boys say congratulations. Worked so hard, forgot how to vacation.